Hi everyone, welcome back to Cooking by Zoe. In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you on how I make Korean corn dogs. Here I have listed all the ingredients that you'll need to make the batter for the corn dogs. You'll first want to whisk your 2 eggs and then add in your instant yeast and then your sugar and then your salt. This batter is quite sticky, so I prefer not to do by hand, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this by hand. Next, you'll want to add in your bread flour and your rice flour, and then the water. If you don't have bread flour, you can use all-purpose flour. Next, I like to use a spatula to give this a good mix, and then attach the dough hook to my stand mixer, and mix the dough until it reaches this consistency. Your dough should look pretty sticky, similar to this. Remove the dough hook and then cover your bowl with saran wrap and let it rise for 1 hour in a warm area. While the dough is rising, let's make the rest of the ingredients that we're going to use as toppings to cover our batter. The 3 types of toppings I'm going to be using is Panko breadcrumbs, and diced potatoes, and hot Cheeto puffs. For the diced potatoes, I'm using 2 large russet potatoes. I peel the skin and then wash it or rinse it in cold water just to remove all of the dirt. And then after doing that, slice it into 4 pieces, and in each of those pieces, I cut them into 4 more pieces and then started to dice them into bite-sized pieces. The bite-sized pieces is up to however big or small that you want. Mine are a little larger. You'll want to cook your potatoes, so bring a large pot of water to boiling. You want that large pot of water to cover all of your potato. Once the water boils, then add in all of your potatoes until it is cooked. To know when your potato is ready, here is an example. If you grab a piece of the potato and press your fingers between the potatoes, it should break pretty easily like this. Once your potato has reached this consistency, go ahead and turn off the heat. Pour out the potato through a strainer and remove all of the water, and then run it through cold water. Next, add in 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and you'll want to coat all of your potatoes with the cornstarch. If you want this to be easier, you can put the potato into a bag and then add in the cornstarch. Otherwise, just do as what I'm doing here and then just shake them around to make sure they're all coated. Once they are all coated, just set them aside and we'll use them later. Next, we're going to cut our mozzarella cheese and we're going to cook our classic frank or the hot dog. For the cheese, I am cutting this into 3 pieces and then cutting them in halves. For the hot dogs, I did not show in this video, but all you need to do is just make sure that they cook thoroughly in hot boiling water. The reason for cooking the hot dog ahead of time is because when we fry our corn dog, it cooks really easily, so we want to make sure that our hot dog is cooked thoroughly. For our next topping, I'm going to be using hot Cheeto puffs, and all you need to do is just blend this or place it into a chopper and make it into crumbs. Set this aside for later use. Next, let's get our proteins, the cheese and the hot dogs onto our bamboo stick. I am using bamboo chopsticks as my sticks. On the sticks, you can do 1 full stick of cheese, 1 full hot dog, or what I'm doing is I cut them in halves and placing a half of the cheese and a half of the hot dog. This is how my sticks with the protein looks like. It has been 1 hour. Take a look at our batter. Our dough has doubled in size and is still pretty sticky, so we are good to go with the next step. Next, pour your dough batter onto a flat plate, and then using a spatula, mix your batter or dough batter together. Next, grab one of your protein that are on the stick, and then what you'll want to do is touch it onto the dough batter and then start twisting it and making sure that the dough twists around the protein just like this. And you can do it in whichever way you like. Sometimes I like to start at the top or the bottom and then work my way up. Other time I just do it this way with the whole protein touching the batter and then twisting them around. Wet your hands with some water And then using your hand, you're going to spread this dough batter so it looks a little bit nicer, and you're going to remove the excess, making sure that everything is covered with the dough. You also don't want too much of the dough to cover your protein because it'll just be too thick and it won't taste as great. And then you'll want to add your toppings on. This first one I'm using the Panko breadcrumbs. So you just want to give it a good nice coat, do a little more sprinkle, and this is how it should look like. Set that aside, and then we're going to repeat the process, and I'm going to, with the next one, add on the potatoes and some sprinkle of panko. So you just want to press them onto the diced potato. Sometimes they're a little hard to stick because of the amount of cornstarch that covers these diced potatoes. So just kind of using your fingers, press them onto the batter, and then sprinkle some panko to cover the other pieces that don't have any potato coverings, and set this aside. Next, repeat the process, and we're going to be using our hot Cheeto puff as a topping for the next one. So you just want to roll the corn dogs over, and you can also sprinkle on the hot Cheeto puffs as well. And this one will look like this. Repeat the process until you're done. You want to heat a large pot of oil, enough to cover 3/4 of your corn dogs, and make sure the temperature is at 375 Fahrenheit. Deep fry until golden brown, and then remove from heat and place them into a strainer to remove any excess oil. You don't want to deep fry these corn dogs for too long or under medium-low heat. Otherwise, you'll notice that the cheese will start to weep out from the corn dogs. Again, I wanted to point out the purpose of cooking the hot dogs ahead of time is because when we deep fry our corn dogs, they do cook quickly, so we want to make sure that our hot dogs are cooked thoroughly. So I do recommend making sure you cook them ahead of time before placing them onto your bamboo stick. Here's the outcome of my Korean corn dogs. For the one with the potatoes, I'm sprinkling on some granulated sugar. For the one with the breadcrumb, I'm adding in some ketchup. You can add in mustard, mayo sauce, sriracha, whatever you like. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching.